deep clean. Oh, all right. We're now in orbit of a stellar bay, Captain.
Greetings, customer.
You in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? You must have seen those UDL gunships on their way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-world traffic. Us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. Well, there's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a... We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories, but that's all outside our walls. Oh, sure. They make Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad.
Ah, the nostalgic stench of home.
Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that. Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at... Oh, and if you're headed that way... I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think... That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers.
I wonder if he's kin. Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's.
Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarque. We still get some of the games. We've been living in a... on account of him being the best hacker who ever played? Whatever you say, I could talk toss, but I couldn't really say I'm just a... But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And... Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in...
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock feels, a wonder earns feels.
What are you talking about?
Well, well. Isn't often we see... Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could...
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka, on account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you? Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the iconoclasts or some... Bunch of marauders broke into the executive compound, slaughtered everyone. Corporation... I thought everyone knew. But then that was 10 years ago. Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Nope.
New face, huh? You from off? A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, why don't you grab a chair?
By the smell, he's been reveling.
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't cover as much as they used to. Our supervisor Velma goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarque, we're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better... I wouldn't doubt it. You look like the type who tends to come out on top. Not like us cogs, trying to be the squeaky wheel, but... It's been days, but Velma won't even hear us out. You would do that? We sure are lucky you decided to come up to the patio today. I knew drinking up here would be good for more... Sure thing. Not forever, but we've each saved up our bits, and I stashed them safe in my home by the diner. I reckon we could let... If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me... The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. We got no proof they're... I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, so far it's just gossip, you know? But if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the salt...
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood. So it's like getting so I can't tell the... Don't interrupt. But I gotta get in there. Get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of... Shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be... Right. Where are you still? Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks, nice change of pace. What are you doing in Stellar Bay? Well. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of... I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure... Well, they work.
Wrapped mask and painted eyes, right here. Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in a Raptidon? You look like a man who's looking for... I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested.
Mr. Pickett?
That's him. He's been here years, but he always talked about...
Sure. Mr. Pickett used to run the community center outside Edgewater. He had this grand idea to make a museum for halcyon life. As my dad told it, Mr. Pickett was always going on about getting a manta queen for the last display. He left the Vale, gosh, years ago.
He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always... Sure, they're real... Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett. But I...
Captain, can we look for him? I'd feel awful if some...
Tell you what. I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him.
Thanks, Captain.
All right, then. Lead down through the southern gate. The one right here. Last mana queen I saw was in the wilds out that... Yeah. I sent them past the ruins just... Oh, good. Celia hasn't come by.
Ils ont tous des soucis.
Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong. Like, please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh. Don't you tell me to calm down. He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders, the toxic sulfur coals and poisonous plants, but he didn't listen.
Oh, law, Captain. A youngster won't last long in a place like this. Please, can't we help?
Please. He's been pining for an adventure. Says he's tired of living. I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. He should have listened to his mama. Well, I guess I can't ask you to leave town. I got some bits saved up for a rainy day. I'll give you every last one if you just... He's been listening to those awful broadcasts that the iconoclasts put. And now I just know my boys run off to Amber Heights. That is, if... Those low-life degenerates, leading innocent boys into a life of danger. Oh, they make it sound so exciting, like it's noble. How noble is it to worry your loved ones? Not at all, I say. But still, if they weren't holed up in Amber Heights, that old settlement, southwest of Stellar Bay. I don't know which is worse, or that he never made it. Sprats could be nesting in his rotting body alongside the road. Or maybe marauders got him, pulled all his teeth out, crushed him into their drugs and made him snort. Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them.
Well, the only new folk I ever see in town are sublight runners from Fallbrook. What can I get you? All sales are final, unless you...
I think I'm gonna be sick. I clean the apartments while everyone... If you're going into the apartments, do not... Now, if you'll excuse me. The body's in the first apartment on the right.
Sorry. Just spooked me, was all.
What a gruesome way to die.
do. Don't mention tossball.
Il n'y a rien à voler ici.
You startled me. Don't. You again! You.
Oh, c'est stylé ce qu'il y a ici.
Good day to you.
Whoa, by the stars, my poor heart. I just about pissed my jumpsuit. Most people... Besides... Where should I begin? With the oversized man? The board was right. This place isn't fit for human habitation. Sanjar, of course. He had all these glorious ideas about how he'd run Monarque. Rest periods between every work. It all sounds wonderful. Until you realize there's only a few centimeters of repurposed steel between you and the deadliest creatures in the galaxy. I could do with a few kilometers of cold vacuum. Only every day. But in case you haven't noticed, and even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with sublight, which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or dissolved into green goo, what then? Nothing. That's what. Because MSI is not in what you'd call good standing with the board. So even talking about it does my blood pressure. Where should I begin? With the Was there something else?
Bon, on va s'arrêter là. Ouais, ça va.
Do your part to... What can I get you? If you don't see it...
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Well, new bit. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistic?
That you did.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Note, but not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who said... Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's... But if you're here for him... Now, there's no need to humor me.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr.
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Surviving alone isn't as easy. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarque has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect... Exactly.
Intellectualism fuels the train to mankind's future.
Mr. Vicar, I don't want to be rude, but I don't think...
Yes, it's as though the good Vic...
Well, Mr. Nandi here has a rather...
On our terms.
Returning to the board is your only chance if you hope to survive here on Monarque. That doesn't mean it'll be easily achievable.
Indeed not. No worthwhile plan was ever simple.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we...
It's a two-pronged approach. The first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. With a Bolt 52 cartridge, of course. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in... In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. These days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. What can I do for... It's good that I keep... I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. Not intentionally. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. As you may have noticed, and as the other corporations began to tally their loss, our leadership at the time...
And how did that work out?
Most regard Monarque as a lost cause. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform and... It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished work...
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjan. That's what...
Ms. Holcomb is our endlessly optimistic.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble... Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. That's what I thought. But the senior executives laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be... Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive, I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarque, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us out. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all...
Without the board, chaos would overtake the system. Working within the...
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community. And being cut off means slow... Indeed, we've got to... If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities... Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us some...
Don't get ahead of you.
Yes, it'll be... My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're... It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off
unnecessary
That's exactly... Monarque may be dangerous, but it's hardly the wasteland the board describes it to be. Whatever the board's goals, the greater good has little part in them. He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarque deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them.
I will admit, I am keen.
Well, be careful what you wish for, Graham. A chance. They've been doing this for years. And it isn't just that they drain our people. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as... He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarque in a...
What can I do for you? I see. And was his delivery of the MS... Well, that's excellent. I'll see that... What else can I do?
Greetings, and welcome to Monarque Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors. What can I do?
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I've got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid tea, or a mantis worm. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a...
He's sort of the straw. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff. I couldn't. Hey, maybe you could ask me. I mean, I know it's not bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real He doesn't talk much. He's got this quiet intensity, you know? Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to... You think that's what I'm looking for? Not in Stellar Bay. Besides, a man with a good smile and a... Sorry.
My dad taught me some French, you know? Stuff about omelets and, fromage.
You look like a man who's looking for some mostly... Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how... I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems...
On va faire comme au collège.
Nice of you to say. And I gotta admire anyone with her passion for Canid. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount.
Oh, no, that's not it at all.
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a... You sound pretty sure.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go...
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well, but we can hope, right?
Have you talked to... You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop. I still don't know anything about it. But if you want to help him, Velma's... But I'll warn you. Grim wore her patience thin a long... Oh! Okay, but how did he say... Was he like, yay, a date with Celia? I've secretly been waiting for this, or was it more... Oh, I will. Now I just got to figure out which jumpsuit I'm wearing and... look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do. Anyhow.
Bien Sanja.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow. So who do you follow?
Wait, don't tell me. You look like a hammersmith.
I'd heard they'd gotten a new hacker. Is that why everyone's making such a fuss about you? But what are you doing on Monarque? Maybe we're not so isolated. So, what can I... Poor Isaac. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet... Right. So the thing with Isaac is he didn't know where to stop. He'd get stuck on something, and he just couldn't let it go. Sometimes he'd drink purpleberry punch by the liter. Other times he'd keep betting on a losing team. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and they're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bully. Huh? As you were.
If Velma's capable of running the warehouse, she can certainly pick up her own caffeinoid.
Don't be so hard on her. With Brax missing, she's working doubles and needs a little edge.
Very well, dearie. But you can stop by any time you like. Hmm?
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Velma's gonna be extra cranky if she doesn't get her caffeine.
Hello, dearie. Why, I don't believe I've seen you. What can Auntie Abigail... And what a helpful young man you are. Who's your lucky friend? I'm so sorry, but with the iconoclasts and the marauder filth, our reserves have gotten so low, I've even had to start locking the supply room upstairs. Except for you, I can tell. I'd make an exception for you if I could, my little cherub. I may not be a fresh young thing anymore. Much as I'd love to, but I'd hate to send you away empty-handed. You were here for Oh, it's none of my business. But I have told her Dr. Williams would bump up her monthly allotment if only she'd join and... Now I've gone and said too much. And you know me, dear. If so, I would love to know where. Believe me, there's nothing I'd love. Dr. Williams managed the town's allotments from his terminal upstairs. Oh, you flatter an old woman. Me, and to keep an extra key to the supply room for all the time. Careless experimentation with medicinal in the town graveyard, I'm afraid. Poor man was always searching for the flower. It's a philosophist's symbol. The graveyard's near the southern ruins. You're certainly welcome to pay our respects, but the bodies tend to attract beasties. Be careful. I'd hate for it. Chin.
Smells like rat in here.
Oh, it does work.
Smells like those old Sundays when we'd unload salt tuna shipments at the cannery.
The trick is not to breathe through your nose.
Here we go!
That's the last of them.
Feels like the old bits outside of Edgewater. Here we go.
Who wants to play an impromptu tossball match? No one? In?
Come to share a secret with Auntie Abigail?
I hear those rich people in Byzantium pay a handsome...
Ah, that's... Oh. More or less, they... Great. Oh, Hiram? I ain't checked in on that man in an age. He's running the giant radio tower. We'll be going south and west, mostly along the road till we're past Fallbrook. Out there, there's a western slope that'll lead us through some, if you're more of a spelunker, Rotting River will take you into the mountain caverns. That said, 3's already a crowd.
As long as you've got my back, I'll have yours. Welcome.
A ship? Well, look at you.
Something else?
Hold.
On to your hats, children. This ride is about to get ugly.
You reckon the smell ever goes away? Maybe the wind off the sea helps.
I wonder what secrets these ruins contain.
I wonder who used to live here. Do you suppose anyone remembers anymore?
Ok, cette portion est fouillée.
That's the last of them. I'm just saying, if we did need to dispose of a body, this would be a good spot for it.
Here we go.
Don't mess with us.
the name of the law.
You look like a man who's looking for some... You'll probably be... Funny place to leave. Mysteries of the...
Not funny, Captain.
So this journal is all he left behind? Seems like I ought to read... I bet she'll like that. She's...
It'd be nice for there to be some good come out of it.
In any case, I appreciate you tracking down Mr. Pickett for me. Huh?
Alors, je vais faire quoi maintenant?
Nicely done.
Merci, monsieur.
I wonder sometimes what they're doing on other colonies.
Uh-huh.
Think they're watching the same serials, following the same tossball games?
Mm-hmm.
You're not listening to a word, are you?
Look, my back aches and everything smells like fish. I just want to enjoy my day.
Who the fuck are you? This ain't your alley.
Hey, what are you doing here? Berta already pissed by those crates to... Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. Not that anyone has proof. And not that it's any of your business. Oh yeah? What are you saying exactly? Wow. Most of the pencil pushers around here can't... Fine, we're going.
You look like...
A fine day, anyway. But that's terrible. I'm glad to hear you've dealt with them. I've been consumed with other matters of late, but it really was... Still, your intervention in the matter is much...